and I'm here at German UPA's book club with Don Norman. This is a re-recording of my introductory talk that had to happen, that was necessary because of technical issues at the event itself. At the book club, Don Norman was talking about his new book, Design for a Better World, and I was asked to give you a few introductory thoughts, and these are the thoughts. So I would like to share some observations that I made about UX, my 25 years of being in the field. And also I want to put forward some questions that I hope you find instructive and helpful and timely for the future. And on the way to being designers in a better world. It's rather tough, I think, to talk about a better world these days. For starters, and these are the trivial observations, our world is big, right? It's tough to understand, and it's also, I have to say, in big trouble. We all know this. Climate change is real, and it's being felt every day. Fires, famine, floods, everything. And global heating is still going strong, and we don't see a clear, although we see a clear path to stopping it, we don't seem to be able to take any proper action to fight it. Also, biodiversity loss is ever increasing, and there's wars between people. Russia attacked Ukraine, terrorist attacks on Israel. It's tough, I think, to speak about a better world. We feel it everywhere. So even if we know that we have to do something, it's tough even to envision what it could be like. And I propose, at least for this talk, one simple sort of formulation. A better world might be a world that is not burning and where everyone lived long and prosper in peace. This is something I think that we should all aspire to, at least, and everybody has their role to play. We as designers, maybe a small little role, and this is what I'm going to look at today. Don focuses on political involvement and activism a lot. I focus on designers, right? So how can we, as designers, be part of the solution and not part of the problem anymore? And I think to get a grip on this, we need to look at our situation today and see how we are faring as designers in this work environment that we find ourselves in, and also in the wider world. And then also, thirdly, look at the products that we make. I think we've been really successful as designers in shaping the world a lot, right? Focusing on UX people and digital designers, I think our successes are undeniable, but also we've been unsuccessful in a lot of ways. Our success is that a lot of the questions that we set out to solve have already been solved. It's not difficult anymore to make the digital products. It's not difficult to build a website. It's not, e-commerce is not difficult anymore. It's solved, right? We can eke out conversion, like an improvement in conversion rates or something, no problem. But this is not something that is a deep question, right? And I put a screenshot of Squarespace up in the corner, and it's good. It's good enough. Like, good is everywhere, and we did this. That's a success. And we did this using the methods and tools and skills that we developed along the way. That was not there before. And I think it is a great success. But it also means that our problem space is shifting, right? It's contracting in the domain that was ours for a long time. But now these things are done. But where is it going? Like, what's the direction of the shift? Where can we apply those skills and tools and the mindset that we developed along the way? I think if designers have a role in the future, it is in collaboration and co-creation. The chart you see on the right is one by DORA. It's a Google research group that looks into how software products are made, and they study companies that make digital products, and they look at how successful teams operate and what kind of tools they use and how they work, right? And everything is interdependent. The usual software topics come up, like constant delivery, ease of like developer experience, and all these things. But one important thing, and this is marked by the "you are here" square, is taking in user feedback, right? Of course, it is important. Of course, it serves the quality of the product, but it is one small part in the equation. We cannot be arrogant and say like this is the way to go and we know the way to go. No, we don't. I think we need to play nice with the devs and the functional people and business and outside users and everything, and try to understand them and try to work with them, collaborate and co-create with them in order to be successful. And this is something, reaching out to others, that we have yet to learn. I see this every day in my projects. Whenever this works, right? Whenever collaboration across disciplinary divides really works, then it's great. And the product is great too. And this is something that the research here and other research shows. This is just an example. I think that we need to reach out beyond our own discipline, though. If we want to look at a better world, it's not enough to simply work with other digital people and build digital products, but use those skills that we have and go beyond the digital realm and find stuff that that would benefit from the things we learned, from the skills that we've developed, from the tools that we created for our work. Collaboration is really, really important, but it's not something that comes naturally to us, and it's not something that we as designers have achieved, right? This is where we have not been, I think, successful enough to get across the value of our work and of us as people who collaborate and add value to things. And this, I think, reflects a lot on how people feel. And I think the question, are you okay as designers, I think is an important one. And I can say from a lot of conversations I had in the last couple of months that for far too many, it has become too hard to cope amid discrepancies and injustices. There are discrepancies everywhere. Like, we want to build cool things and we want to take into account user feedback, but sometimes we aren't allowed to. Why? That's a discrepancy that's hard to tackle. We build things and talk about cool stuff, while at the same time, around the corner, the world is burning. This is an experience that Clive, it's the second screenshot, or the middle screenshot in the list, 7 Habits, in his talk, speaks of a lot, like the 7 Habits of Highly Depressive Designers. And I think that's a really, really important thing to notice. And we need to take care of ourselves, and we need to find ways to strengthen ourselves and to strengthen our position and to look after each other. Jonas, in his efforts for sustainable UX, speaks a lot about this too, among other things, right? But go check him out as well. And also, discrepancies in our workspace are huge. That's what the talk of Karen Nee is about, like experiences of women of color in UX design. We're still too many white men in there, and we don't understand how yet, or we don't understand enough how hard it is for other people to come in to our field, and how tough it is for people who want to be part of this movement, who want to take other people's opinions and desires and needs seriously and build for them, right? We need to open up. We need to create safe spaces, and we can't tell. Like I can't tell. I'm an old white man. I can't tell if a space is a safe space. Only the people who don't feel safe can say it's a safe space. I can try to be an ally, but the people who need an ally can say that I'm an ally. That's not for me to decide. And this is something that features in Karen's talk, and I think everybody should see this and reflect on our industry and how we can be better. And I think we need to be. And I think it also seems to me that if we can work together in that way, and we become better and more open people, our own mental health, everyone's mental health will profit, right? And we will become a better community for it. And I think becoming a better community is one of the key things for us to be designers in a better world. I think we have all the things in place, right? A lot of the things. Understanding our users, being compassionate with their needs. We talk about empathy a lot, but I think empathy, and Karen talks about this as well, empathy doesn't cut it. You can't put yourself in somebody else's shoes, but you can be compassionate and you can be understanding. This is what we need to learn, and we need to get better, and we need to help each other. So the first set of questions that I pose is this: how can we put our skills to good use? How can we collaborate and co-create with others inside and outside the digital industry? It's an open question. I mean, I ask you to ask yourself and each other and us in the community, and also. And I think that's the flip side of this, or these questions belong together. How can we find strength and give solace? How can we find the strength to fight for the right things? How can we find the strength to support other people? How can we find the strength to open our community up to other people and let more people in and fight the injustices in both inside and out? But strength is not enough. I think solace is important too. How can we give solace to those in need? And a lot of us at this moment are in need. Suppose we answer these questions and we find a way to be more open and better and give solace and find our strength. I think we still need to talk about the stuff that we build, right? And we can not only look at ourselves and be better, we need to focus as well on the things that we make. And there, let me share with you some observations. Talking about the things we make, I have the feeling that a lot of the time we aim to create things that hide complexity and promise limitless possibilities. I don't know if that resonates with you, but speaking to a lot of I've done so many projects, I've spoken with so many people, and even myself, in my mindset, back in the day, it was like, oh my God, this makes everything so much easier. This takes away 3 steps and hides everything that's complex or complicated about what this task is about. Like, it achieves so much in such a cool way, and the more complexity you hide, the better is your solution. And I think, or it strikes me as deeply flawed. I think we need to go ahead and look at complexity in a different way. Also, constraints. I think it's hard for us to accept that we face some constraints in our work, in the stuff we build. We're not prepared to compromise with technical limitations or legal limitations or whatever, data protection, whatever, right? So we fight those things. I think we need to reevaluate our stance toward those as well. I brought an example with me that I really, really like, that kind of showcases what I mean here a little. So the image that you see here is a tilther that is used in or was designed in the market gardening movement. The market gardening movement is a movement of people who tried to do intensive organic veg farming, right? So it's not like tree hugging. It's like intensive farming, but it's organic. It's trying to not harm the planet as much, and leave the soil be and use the soil properly to grow veg. And so one constraint that they set themselves is they cannot use tractors. They're not allowed to use tractors because tractors compact the soil. They leave they're just bad for the soil or bad for the way farming is done here. So that's a constraint that they create themselves and that they embrace, and that serves their purpose. Another constraint that they embrace themselves is, and that they created for themselves, is that each bed where they grow vegetable is 70 centimeters wide. And this constraint is a constraint that standardizes all the tools that they use. The tool you see here has the exact width of a bed. And so every market gardener can use it. It was created by one person and it's open source, and every other person can build it and use it. And it's powered by a power drill, right? Everyone has a power drill. And so you plug in the power drill, so it's modular as well. And the complexity of powering such a thing, of turning those little wheels that tilt the work on the soil, is not hidden, right? The need for power and everything is not hidden. So there's no plastic hood above a motor that you don't see, that you can't replace, that you can't work on. Everything is out in the open. And I think this proves, or this is a great example because it embodies openness, collaboration, co-creation. Tools are open source, everybody can work on them, standardization, embracing of constraints. And these people are not really designers of course they are designers because they design their own tools, but they're not professional designers. They're professional wedge growers, farmers. But we can go there, I think, but not in this community. I think they're fine, but we can find things like these and help them and grow them and make them better. And I don't know how, really. That's the question for you, I think, that I want to pose. How can we find a new approach to dealing with complexity? I think we haven't, and I think we need to. And what kind of constraints might even be liberating? Like the 70 centimeters of width for a bed, right? It's liberating because everybody can use the same tools and everybody can improve on those tools. How can we do this? And if we can, and if we think about this, in my opinion, we will be building better things as well. Things that fit into a better world. Because embracing some constraints will prevent us from doing the bad things and building bad stuff. And we need to stop building bad stuff. We need a new look at complexity and constraints. because the world itself is full of constraints and we need to respect the constraints that Earth gives us. How can we do this? So to sum up, for a better world that's not burning, where everyone can live long and prosper in peace, these are the questions that I put forward. How can we put our skills to good use? How can we find strength in ourselves and also for others to support them, and give solace to ourselves and others in our community and outside? How can we collaborate? And also, how can we re-evaluate complexity and embrace Earth's constraints and more for a better future, for a better world? So thank you. I'm Rainer Sachs. Hit me up on LinkedIn. You can find me at uxni.de/Rainer-Sachs. And so thank you for listening, and